I marked the center line and drew two different shapes of the teardrop because I didn't really know what I was wanting until I could see it in real life. So I start marking out the dimensions I'll need on the foam. Mark my same center points for the reference areas, that way I can align the template up every time I need to. Use good ventilation. That hot knife cutter makes the whole shop stink. Got my reference lines laid out, center points. Get the template traced over. Coming in with the hot foam cutter, getting the rough shape knocked out. A lot of it was a guessing game. I've never done it before with a hot knife cutter. You see here I'm starting to tape it back up so I can work with my original template. Have all my old original center marks or template marks lined out the way I need them. I'll make another video. This was not the way I would ever do it again. This is my first time doing it this way. A lot of the time the original marks just end up being a reference. I should have followed them closer, but I didn't. At the very end, I'm going to shoot another video showing how I would do this again. I would make this foam template again using a dowel rod, punch down through the middle of the foam, then I would spin it on my pipe threader I've got, because you really do need a round surface. I didn't get it completely round. I tried hard. I worked way too long trying to get it this way. But if I didn't have, and I didn't have one at the time, so this is the best I could do. That's 90%, 99% of what I do. It's just the best I can do with the tools I got and keep moving forward. What you don't see here is I used a little micro, I guess you call it a microplane, to smooth it up a little bit. I broke the tip off, which was fine. I couldn't lay the nuts that I'm going to use all the way up that high anyhow. So then I marked my center points, the widest parts out, because I'm going to form this in a plaster of Paris. I'm cutting it in half right here. Getting my dimensions. Laying out the box that's going to hold the forms. I use the cheapest scrap I've got around possible for this. Using the cheapest caulk I can just to seal it up a little bit, make it slightly watertight till the plaster will set once I pour it in. The chicken wire reinforces the plaster, keeps it from breaking. Since I'm going to pour this upside down, you'll see why it's, I guess you'd call this a negative on the forms. A little Expandifoam underneath them, weights to hold it down while it sets. Rubbing it down with clay helps smooth it out a little bit. I can get rid of imperfections. And also helps usually release it, which one of these didn't release very good. You'll see later in the video. Put the chicken wire in there, that way the plaster will set with the reinforcement. I use a non-stick cooking spray is what I use. You can use all kinds of different form slips, whatever you need. I found out vegetable oil works just as good as anything I need. I don't measure this out. I got about 4 gallons of water in here, and it ends up being about 1.5 bags. I slowly add the plaster until I get a giant island that won't settle, won't sink. That's how I know I've got to the concentration. I'm sure there's better ways to do it, but I don't use them. And I never know how much I need, so I've got a giant pile of big old stack of plaster off to the side, extra buckets of water. You can see here I added about an extra half a bucket of water. I mixed it in reverse, that way I'm not putting air bubbles down into it. Top it off. I got a tarp so I can overfill a little bit before it sets. I screw the base down, or the backing to the form down on it. And try to give it, it'll set quick. I usually give it less than half a day before I try to pull it apart. The quicker I can get to it, the less fragile it'll be, the less it sticks to the forms, sacrificial forms. Which you'll see here, I did have that problem with one of them. But as long as you don't mind destroying your sacrificial form, it works. And here you go. Clean it up a little microplane. Shot back all the little dust, particle bits, scrapings out of it. Wipe it down with a rag. Clean up any more high spots you'll see.